Hey y'all, this is Moni.
And this is Kat.
Hey Kat. And this is the Fake Ass Book Club. Wait, can we both say it or no?
Welcome everybody, PopCon Indy. Thank you for having us. We are super excited to be here. My name is Moni and
This is Kat.
hey Kat.
Hey, Moni.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
How are you
to be
feeling?
here.
You always ask me how I'm
excited.
feeling, but now I'm a good person. So how are you feeling?
You know what? I'm really excited to be here. I've never been to PopCon before. Like I'm feeling like, wow, I've been transported.
You have you really?
Yeah, a little bit.
It is a different world.
Definitely.
Welcome to my world.
Okay. Yeah.
What do you think of my world?
I like it. It's a lot of color. We got people dressed up. We have, honestly, I'm surprised by the diversity here as far as just people's
I
interests.
knew you were going to comment on that.
Yeah.
I was like, Moni's going to be surprised a little bit.
I am.
But
So this is
it's
awesome.
what we love to see. I have to say, this is one of my favorite forms of art.
Was that conferences?
Cosplay.
Oh, gotcha.
Especially cosplay, but really everything. I mean, we have artisan swords. We have like really detailed, like you need to know your materials design. We got Princess Leia.
Let's go.
Work in the
Beautiful.
gold bikini. If you're not here, you missed it.
You missed it.
Yeah,
She is basically
yes,
killing
lovely.
it.
We're
Indeed.
doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you for cosplaying.
Yes. Amazing. So you guys, I feel like we should tell you just a little bit about our podcast. So we are the Fat Podcast, and our podcast is a literary review podcast, but also it's an excuse for us to connect. Kat and I have been friends for 30 years.
30 of them things.
I'm impressed by us. People don't do that anymore.
We're impressive. We're
vintage.
hella impressive.
We're vintage, and we're also from the 1900s, so
Yeah.
that, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
like a lot of these fandoms.
thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
We got an applause
yes.
for being from the 1900s.
I mean, I'm
Let's
not
bring
afraid.
the 1900s back.
Yeah, let's see if these kids can get old.
That's
Not
right.
easy.
It's not. It's not for the weak, okay?
It's
So,
not. Takes a
there's
lot
that.
to survive in this world.
It sure does. And I would imagine that's the appeal of an event like this, though, because, you know, we're out adulting. We're out, you know, trying to be good parents. We are taking our kids to soccer practice, all of the things. And so I think a creative outlet is supremely important. And so when I kind of approached you and was like, Kat, yo, I think we should do a podcast. First of all, I'm surprised you said yes.
I was surprised you asked.
Yeah.
I thought that was really surprising. I thought for sure I was just going to be doing the behind the scenes like tech stuff.
Nah.
And I was excited about that. Can I tell you? I was like,
mean-
and I thought like you're going to be so great at this, and I'm like, yeah, cuz you're that forward, you know, extroverted energy, like blah blah, you know, I'm like, this will be great.
And that's weird because I am, but I also don't like doing stuff by myself. So that's why I was like, no, you gotta do this with me. And so when I asked you initially, I think we'd be at PopCon podcasting? Absolutely
I would not have predicted this.
I thought I'd just be in my closet surrounded by my lovely clothes, in my pajamas, in my face mask. And here we are. So
no, you're like, be camera ready.
I
Let's
know.
go.
I don't. It's rude a little because I was kind of like, I don't know, like the pressure to look cute in spaces, but also I like to get dressed up too, so that's cool.
There's that. I know. I kind of wanted you to show
I was
off
gonna
the
say,
logo. Yeah, it's
so
what
this
it's what we're doing. Let me act like I'm podcasting and talking to them.
Honestly, though, here's the
Yeah.
thing, right? Like I am not. As far as pop culture goes, like I'm not the person that's truly into, you know, the comic books and stuff like that. That's more your thing. But so I'm cosplaying as a cosplayer, wearing this very lovely Wonder Woman T-shirt.
Yes.
Okay. Someone pointed out that I didn't have
Give it
the
up for
bracelets
Themyscira.
or the lasso. I was like, first of all,
Well, who
I'm
pointed
wearing the
that out?
T-shirt.
Who
The
pointed
guy
that
at
out?
registration, and I'm coming back to find you,
Who
bracelets.
pointed that out?
The guy at registration.
Oh, got you.
I don't know
Got
him,
you.
but I can find him.
Okay, we'll find him
But-
later.
But you look cute though. You should tell the people. I mean,
you. Yeah,
you-
for
what
me,
you got going
I
on there,
wanted to like cosplay as Storm on her day off, but she still had to fight crime because that's how it always works. So your
That's
day
right.
off, you still end up working.
multitasking, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So you guys, we are going to talk a little bit about the enduring sort of popularity of comic books in general, but also we're going to talk about a lot of, or a couple of at least, Kat's faves when it comes to comic books. So I know
This
Wonder
is for
Woman.
me. This is all for me.
It's totally for her. And
you.
I'm, you know, she's my BFF, so I'm here to support the things that she likes. So usually at the top of our show, you guys, we like to dedicate each episode. So we don't have our music. I figure
Don't. I'm
you
gonna
should
pipe it in
hum
earlier.
for
Oh, do you want me to sing it while you're doing
Don't
it?
sing it. Just maybe hum it. Just hum it, okay? So we. I might not be able to do it if you're humming because it's gonna make me laugh. Okay, it's piped in.
Sauce.
It'll be regular.
Okay.
But I want to dedicate this episode, you guys, to our patrons. We have a lot of lovely patrons that help support and sustain our podcast. Podcasting is hard, okay? It takes a lot of time, it takes resources, and so we just like to take a time to thank the people who continue to support us over time. Also, I wanted to dedicate this to is it IN Podcast? I feel like I always say this wrong. IN Podcast. Is it just in?
I would
like
just
for
say
Indiana?
IN is too hard to say. I say in Podcasting Network.
So the in Podcasting Network.
What is Brandon?
I know
He's
Brandon.
our tiebreaker.
In Podcasting. Right, Indiana
Yeah.
Podcasting.
Yeah.
Okay, it shouldn't be that
But when I
confusing.
see it in Podcasting Network.
Yeah, so the In Podcasting Network is hosted, they do like a live monthly podcast, and they invite local podcasters to kind of build community around podcasting, create sort of resources, and help build community within that space, which I really love and adore. So shout out to Chris Spangle for that. We do those monthly meetups I'm not sure if it's exactly like on every third weekend, but it's at the, is it Switchboard in Fountain Square?
Yeah.
And so
Don't say with confidence.
Yes,
Switchboard, Fountain Square. Be there.
Be there or be square. I want to shout out also Brandon Peters for inviting us to this event because we met through that. So I just feel like so many opportunities have been presented to us through podcasting in general, and specifically, that group. So I want to shout them out this week. So what about you, friend?
Yes, and that dedication. All very good. Very good stuff.
Thank you.
I want to dedicate this episode to my baby cousin Kelly, who's having a baby. And she also has a podcast called Board Games with Variant Hex. So, yeah, she does a board gaming podcast. So if you're into that, go follow that and listen to that. Also, want to dedicate this to X-Men 97. It's really been helping me get my life together. I haven't really got a chance to watch it all the way through, but I want to talk about it, and I love it.
All right. Is that it? Did you get everything off your heart for the
dedication over?
Dedication over, guys. All right, so let's get into the show, friend. I don't know. I think, like I said, I'm truly, like, on a Sunday afternoon, there's so many people here.
Yeah.
And I feel like it just sort of...
well attended.
It's well attended, and it's sort of... I don't know, like, to me, I'm like, okay, yeah, people need outlets. Like, people need things to do. They need community. People need things to bring them together outside of work, right? Because that's usually where we are, outside of everything else.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what makes this such a compelling event. That's what brings people out here to dress up. Do you feel like comic books in general give people an excuse to maybe escape reality? Or, like, what do you think the enduring appeal overall is, just of comic books?
Thank you for that question, Moni.
You're welcome,
I think the
friend.
enduring appeal of comic books is, it's very similar to mythology, as we're telling the same stories over and over again. But comics help us to reset and recontextualize those lessons. Because I think you're going to bring up like a Superman comic later. And just about how a lot of the problems we've had in the past, we still have now.
True.
But they're just called something else. So a lot of times when we repackage these heroes and villains, it's very much the same story. So if we can examine these stories, decide where we want to be in those stories, we can maybe stop repeating all of this history. So I think that's why it endures. We see the eternal struggle and the human condition.
So it's kind of
in pictures.
Oh, pictures are good. I'm a visual person.
Yeah.
So what's weird, I'm loving everything you're saying, but I still cannot get into comic books. Like,
It's true. It's true.
She gave me one the other day, and I was like, she pointed out that
this.
it might as well have been upside down, because I'm just like, yeah. I mean, the art is cool. My kids are really into them. Like, I have a son who really loves all the Marvel stuff, so it's not...
I buy him comic books for his birthdays and stuff like that. And
he's super into it. And my daughter even, she gravitates toward
books.
it. I do. And I like pictures, so it doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why I can't.
I think it's because every comic book has its own format. I think you would like comic books if they were more regimented. For every comic book style, you have to figure out how they want you to read the story. Because not everything is a square. Not everything is necessarily
Everything's
sequential.
not nice and neat the way I like it, friend. This is terrible news.
So in one of my favorite episodes, we read X-Men Unlimited number 79, I think it was.
We read?
I read it.
You read it and you talked to me about it.
And it was one of my favorite stories. It still is now. It's in the style of X-Men 97.
So what's that style? 90s animation?
I should have been more prepared. It's the artist who's in charge of drawing the characters at that time.
Okay,
so like every era of X-Men comic books has a different style.
Okay.
So like the original X-Men, like Uncanny X-Men, does not look like X-Men 97. Does not look like Uncanny X-Men. Does not look like the MCU.
I didn't know there was that many.
Yeah, all of this stuff, like X-Men is part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
And actually, that's one of the stories I do like. Like, I mean, when it turns into a movie, then I'm into it. I'm definitely into it.
Very, consumable.
See,
and
that's
very
probably
sequential. And I love that. I know a lot of people hate the MCU, but for me, I'm like, I feel in a lot of ways it saved comic books.
You're right. Because, I mean, you see an uptick in people kind of like taking in that. Because they're not stories that I probably would have found without them being turned into movies.
Yeah, like now if I say Wolverine, you know exactly who I'm talking about.
I do. He has really long nails. And they're made of
Go for it. Go for it. Say what Kat.
Vibranium. No, she's shaking her head.
That was close though.
Okay.
You had the suffix.
Right.
You had the right
family.
suffix.
Okay. That's all I got, friend.
I'm not going to
continue.
Thank you. Adamantium.
Damn it. I would have never got that. Okay.
But I want to get a version of like Wolverine who's infused with vibranium. Like that's the thing, you can like mix and play around in these worlds and everything. Like I'm cosplaying as Storm. She was briefly the queen of Wakanda. Yeah.
Very nice.
She's T'Challa's like ex-wife.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a fun fact.
It is a fun fact.
Yeah.
And did you know that Killmonger had a girlfriend?
No, who was
later went after T'Challa because she was like, you killed my boyfriend?
Oh, no. She was like a superhero?
It's so soap opera-y. Yes, comic books are soap operas.
Okay.
Yeah,
listen, and I would have never guessed.
Professor Xavier has an evil twin.
Oh, my God. Well, and that's the thing, too, because now I feel like everything is like an alternate universe. Like, are we tired of the multiverse, guys, or are we, like, what's happening here?
That is an actual theory that we ourselves are part of a multiverse.
Yeah.
That was like when I tried to get you to watch Rick and Morty. And you know how he was going from he was going from universe to universe. That's what his portal gun does. It takes you through the multiverse, so you can find a multiverse where we've already made it as podcasters.
Oh my gosh,
that exists.
What would we be doing? That'd be fun.
I don't know. Probably some version of what was he telling us about the Three Stooges, the fake Sheppy or whatever. Like I'll probably turn into a dysfunctional like alcoholic, and you'll have to replace me.
No, well I don't want to do it anymore. You're like half the reason why this even works, friend.
It'll be like, or like we see that happen with podcast combos, so like Jesus and Mero, and like you see it like all times, like it falls apart and stuff. Like that happens in Hollywood. It's like there's not enough money you can give me
to sell out. Or
well, no, like a lot of times when people get in these like beefs, they're like, no, I don't care how much it's making. I'm not going to get in a room with that person.
Oh no, I don't want that to happen to us. That made me feel scared. I don't like that.
I promise it won't. We won't go to that universe. That's what I'm saying. But
see, that's why I don't like time travel. Right there, it ruins everything.
Theory, there is a version of that universe where that happened.
Okay.
Because there's infinite universes.
I feel like I heard.
But you don't have to think about it.
No, I can't. It makes me sad, and I'm scared.
That was Rick's advice. The trick is don't think about it.
He
was like, what about the universe where Hitler cured cancer? The trick is don't think about it.
Don't think about it. Yeah, wow. That's something to think about. Well, I wanted to get into Wonder Woman, though, because I know that's one of your faves. Do you I feel like people sleep on her a little bit. Like, is she...
Well,
she's that popular.
The past couple of movies haven't been amazing.
Ooh, is that a hot take? Or?
They weren't. They were the better part of the DCU, which is the DC universe
of comics. And
so, do you want to guess what DC stands for?
Ooh, this is. You know what? You're rude.
It's not what you think. Well, because you want to think like Batman really
District
launched
Columbia.
Yeah, fair enough. You know what? That's a fair enough guess. It's Detective Comics.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have got that.
Because Batman was the greatest, like he was the world's greatest detective. That was Batman's thing. Yeah.
Did not know that.
Because he didn't have powers, so he
lots of resources.
He had lots of resources.
That could be like
really cool and stuff. But yeah, I agree with you. I think Wonder Woman does get slept on.
Yeah, so why do you like her so much? Why am I wearing her T-shirt today? She dressed me up.
Well, first of all, the outfit. I mean, when I saw it as a kid, children, I'm going to say it like this is might be controversial, but children are shallow. Like, so a lot of times, like, you just have to dress up and they're just like, you've impressed me, let's go. I love Jerry Seinfeld. He had a bit about how, like, kids, you have to give them speeches about not going off with people with candy because they're just candy idiots.
Yeah.
So you have to have, like, conversations with them. So it's like, yeah. So basically, as a child, I'm like, wow, she has on this amazing outfit. Like, I'm thinking of the Linda Carter Wonder Woman.
Okay.
And, like, she's spinning around real fast. She's got great accessories. She can make people tell the truth.
Ooh.
Hit that truth hard.
I like that, yeah.
Why do you? I mean, I feel like you like Wonder Woman though. You dressed up as her for. Did you do?
No, that was one of our
That
other
was one of our.
friends.
I'm sorry, I'm racist.
But what I will say,
I'm confused with the other black girl.
No, it's wow. Wow. You heard it here, folks. No, you know what? I will say her outfit is pretty iconic though. Like I love the bangles. In fact, I'd love to see somebody dressed as her today. Like who really brought it, unlike myself.
If we wait around enough, we've got to.
I do. So I like observing the cosplay more so than participating. I mean, I have before a little bit. Like usually Halloween's when I do that. But I get it.
This is giving Halloween vibes. Like, I
is.
love Halloween because it's nationally accepted cosplay day.
It is. But if you're cosplaying right, you're spending a lot of money. Let's be for real because the girls, y'all not out here skimping on these outfits. I mean, I'm seeing full on. You're going hard. And I got
no one here is
tuition.
poor.
I have tuition. Okay, kids are in private school. Got braces to pay for. They like to play sports. They want to eat. Do you guys know how expensive groceries
It's called
are?
being fabulous.
I can't afford to cosplay. Are you kidding me? I was like, friend, do you have a shirt I can borrow? This was the best I could do. So yeah, I just feel like you really have to be dedicated to it. So I mean, it's really cool to see that kind of excitement for, stories because I think each person is representing a story. Like I'm sure if we stop people and ask them, like, so who are you and why does this character resonate, with you? So I feel like that is really dope. I really enjoy that.
And for me, I gave you my answer, clothes.
Clothes.
Just
as I suspected.
Clothes. But then once I got deeper into it, it's funny because the creators of it knew that people are shallow. So they were like, okay, we got you with the clothes. Now here's the message. Women are people.
Wait for it, guys.
It's like, what?
It's like, wow.
What? Huh. And they can beat people up. Not out you can just beat people up. If they come at you crazy, punch them in the face.
It does. It is kind of nice. Like that is not exactly punch people in the face, but the idea. The idea. See, what she said? What?
She said some people like it. You're right.
Oh,
sometimes you should negotiate a price before
some
that.
People do like that.
Yes.
I actually think I'd be okay at that job. I do.
If it was, I don't know. Okay, we're going on a tangent.
Okay, all right.
But yes,
right, bring it back, friend.
Yes, things Wonder Woman also taught me. It's that idea that it's okay for women to fight,
or to just be in the building. Like
or to be in the Justice League.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like she can show up with like the boots.
And looking fabulous and ready to kick
she's
ass.
like, I like this. I like one of the best things the DCU has done is animation. Their animation that they've put on like HBO Max has been incredible. So like their Justice League movies, like I really like that Wonder Woman because she's like beefier and she's more aggressive and I like that Wonder Woman.
Okay, who is your favorite Wonder Woman of all time then?
Oh, my favorite iteration of Wonder Woman. That's tricky.
Is it?
I'm gonna give it to Linda Carter because she came first. Like she got me into it. I got to give it to her.
1900s.
Yeah,
too, so
I got to give it to her.
Mm-hmm.
And she hung in there too. Like I think what we're learning when we read all the stories we've read is that Hollywood can make you crazy, and you know what I mean.
It's
like
a darn shame.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Well, let's see. What other points did we want to make about Wonder Woman? I guess for me, like you were saying, we were talking about just how stories, sometimes like when we're exploring these narratives, we're really having a social conversation about the things that are happening around us. So I feel like it's really, like you mentioned earlier, I was scrolling through the Instagram earlier. Let me see if I can find it. But it was like, I guess there was this whole thing where the Klan was getting super popular in the 40s.
Especially in Indiana. Oh,
especially
can we say
here.
too, like we're here at Indy PopCon. We're in Indiana right
we
now.
are.
So
We
it
sure
was
are.
the hotbed for the Klan for a while. I like to remind people they set up our school system. We should probably revamp it at some point.
Yeah, that seems real dangerous. But I think that they were able to use, was it Batman or Superman?
Superman
Superman comics to sort of like bring those ideas of the Klan being like
these are
ridiculous.
the people you should
basically,
be fighting.
they're actually the villains in this story, and I felt like that was super dope that they were able to take that social, like the guy, I can't remember his name now. The guy who actually, he was like, I'm gonna be with the Klan for a little bit and kind of learn their secrets, and I'm gonna use this to kind of like put these in these stories. And they picked him, like the comic makers picked up the stories, and he was able to kind of like put their plans out there through the books and stuff. And and in fact, it was like 50% more popular. Like after those stories kind of gained traction and stuff like that, and the nobody was recruiting.
Wow.
Or being recruited. Like it took, recruitment down. So I was like, the fact that a comic book has that kind of power and ability for people to.
Media is powerful.
It totally
Did you know,
is.
like, one of the reasons, like, Ronald Reagan didn't go to war, like, launch the nukes was because of a movie. Like the day after tomorrow or something like that.
Really?
Like he was like, oh yeah, there's no way to win a nuclear war, so I shouldn't do that. But like movies are more persuasive than it's like we've got reports and charts.
People
people hate math.
We're so mad. I mean,
they hate it so much. But it's like, no, I got this chart and you see this curve? The curve that's going up.
Oh my gosh. No, but that just, to me, that makes it a really compelling story for why comic books are important. It's not something I ever really thought about like that. But I'm like, yo, if we can stop the Klan with comic books, like we need to maybe start a new series with that now.
I think so.
That'd be
I think
great.
there's something very very powerful about seeing a narrative play out. Like we can tell you, like, you do step 1, you see step 2. It's the same way of like having role models. Like it's one thing to say you can be anything you want to be. And it's like, oh, here's a person where you're from who did what you want to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, now I believe it.
That is so true, though, because I don't think that a lot of people, like, you have to, how do you ask people to go to a place they've never really even seen demonstrated or
You have to be a
recognized
visionary.
before?
Not everybody's a visionary.
Yeah. Or if you are, it's hard to convince other people that you're not nuts.
Yeah.
It's like, no, for real. Like, I can be a girl and fight crime. I can look cute while I'm doing it, which is the best way if
what
possible.
Comics teach us.
Yeah,
like, you can show up in a
and
whole
show out.
fit. Like if the very, I think that's
love
what I
that.
like about cosplay is because you get to break the regular rules of fashion. Like there are very, like even every society has more, your rules. And so if you go outside of that, people are going to be like, what are you doing? What's wrong? You're going to get a lot of questions.
Yeah, for sure.
You're going to get some pushback. But then, like, if you come here, no, you're not going to get any pushback. Everybody gets it.
Yeah.
Like, even if you weren't, sorry, getting excited.
Gets excited,
Even
guys.
if
Don't
you
worry.
weren't cosplaying as a character and just wore, like, an outrageous outfit, no one's going to care.
No.
Like, they'll just assume it's some fandom they haven't heard of.
Yeah, that's true. That's kind of. So you, I know you've been to other conferences like this before. Who are your favorite? Like, I mean, obviously Storm, but who are your favorite people to cosplay as? Like,
like Lieutenant Uhura.
Oh yeah,
Star Trek.
Oh, here we go.
Love cosplaying as Lieutenant Uhura. Have my own outfit. Love it so hard. It's so great for Halloween because you got boots
Boots are always good.
and a wig, so those are both very warm. And it's just fantastic. I love seeing Nichelle Nichols. Peace to her. Growing up,
Yeah, she was
on
beautiful.
The Enterprise.
Nichelle Nichols.
It was like, I was like, yeah, it was so important.
I'm so glad Star
Did you
Trek
know
came
that
up.
Martin Luther King told her not to quit because she was getting like a lot of racism on the set?
Really? Well,
And
yeah.
No surprise there. And she was just like, fuck this job. And he was going to
say that
leave.
here.
Oh, sorry. I'm used to being on my thing.
Sorry, guys.
Everyone,
We have a cuss word in our name.
forgiveness,
Sorry,
please.
guys. The children. You guys hear worse on TikTok. Let's be real, but we're not going to do that. Do we have a little button for a? Yeah, let's buzz her out because
I'm embarrassed.
it was the.
I'm going to blame
Margarita.
it on, there it is.
Yeah.
Okay, hit that for me.
With this one,
That job.
Absolutely
Because
you're fired.
they weren't even giving her fan mail. Like,
Really?
yeah, like one of the guys in the mail room was like, man, I think it's really messed up that they won't give you your fan mail. And she was like,
Huh?
what? And she was like, what are you talking about? I just assumed I didn't get fan mail. And he was like, no, you've got like bags of fan mail and they won't let us give it to you. But they never said you can't go to the mailroom and read it yourself. And so she did, and she got letters from all over the world,
Oh my
like talking about how much
God.
they loved her.
So she just read them and cry?
Yeah.
That's what I would have done. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
that's pretty much what happened. And then later on, when she wanted to quit, Martin Luther King was like, no, it's really important that you stay here. People need to
Aww. MLK, you gotta love him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just, another point for, representation.
Yes.
It is super important. I love that.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Star Trek, friend. You've been waiting. You kind of introduced it. You might as well get into that. I feel like that's another...
Star Trek was even more take what comic books are and then extrapolate that into live action, because seeing humans act out something is way more powerful than just reading it. Even though, we know reading is powerful, but you, as human beings, we really do have to see it to believe it. So every week you're seeing the Enterprise, which I've told you is just a metaphor for yourself.
Okay, you have told me that.
Yes, and so you have all of these things inside you, so you have to know when to listen to Spock and when to listen to Kirk.
It's like Inside Out.
It is very similar to Inside Out. That's why
very cute.
If you look at Inside Out, it does look like the helm of the Enterprise.
It does.
Yeah.
First of all, that just blew my mind.
But it's
Because
great.
everything goes back to Star Trek for Kat. She's like, everything I know I learned from Star Trek. She
You
needs the
pointed
t-shirt.
out, Star Trek raised me.
It raised her. That's the t-shirt, actually. Star Trek raised me. Yeah.
So when you're thinking about things that way, you're like, oh, I'm the captain of me.
Ooh.
So I get to decide where I go, how I'm going to act when I get there, all of that good stuff.
Absolutely.
So once you realize that, you're like, oh, wow, I'm actually very powerful.
Yeah.
That was the other thing. I forget what I was watching the other day. They were like, yeah, I like being powerful because I feel small. It's like,
what?
Okay. It's like,
yes.
that's true. Especially when you're a little kid. You're like, I feel,
gotcha. Yeah,
I feel small, but it's like, this is a reminder that actually you're powerful.
Aww.
And your actions can have really, really enduring consequences. So how do you want to yield that power?
Yeah.
But right now. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. So But what does Star Trek mean to you?
Well, what Star Trek means to me is when I first started actually watching it, it was The Next Generation. Picture this. It was 1998. No. 99, 2000 maybe. But anyway, I had my first apartment and I did not have cable. Imagine that. And so the only channel that came in was Fox 59, and the only channel that came in clear, the only show that I would get to watch in the evenings, after school and stuff like that, was Star Trek, Next Generation. So I was like, you know what? Let's give it a whirl. And it was good. I actually liked it. I was like, oh, this is amazing. I loved Data. I loved, it was good storytelling.
Okay, so this is spoilers for Picard. So if you don't want spoilers for Picard, guard your
plug your
ears.
ears.
But Data had kids.
You told me this, and I'm like, how, Sway? I thought he was a robot.
Data had twins.
How can Data be hunching? I don't understand.
He just reproduced.
Incubated something on the side?
No, he just built them, the same way you built you were like a squishy 3D printer for your kids.
I was just thinking 3D printing. That is basically what that was, wasn't it?
Yeah, you put that child together molecule by molecule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And except for a uterus, so was it with a human?
Listen, I think he just built it in a lab.
Oh, by himself.
I don't know for sure. Who knows? Who knows?
Okay.
Because he had tried before. Do you remember the episode?
Leave the comments and tell us, guys, because I don't know.
He had tried to make a panicide. Oh Lord, I'm too drunk to say it. Help me out. What was the Data's brain called? Do you know? Positronic. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It was the type of brain he had. It was super complicated because our brains are too complicated to make into a machine right now.
Okay.
So, but in the future, Data's creator figured it out, but he wasn't able to pass it on. And so Data tried to do it, and then she was able to live for a couple days, and then she died. It was almost like she had a chromosomal defect. And it was it's crazy because if you were someone who lost a child like that, it takes you through that grief process.
Oh.
If you had a child who had a congenital birth defect and would only live for a couple days.
Right. Oh, man.
It takes you through that whole healing process too. Because then you got to, that's when, Counselor Troy comes in.
See another person on deck. Yeah, it actually, so it doesn't mean as much to me. I don't feel like I actually, even after enjoying that, it's not anything. Once I got cable, I moved on. You know what I mean? But I'm also not the kind of person that tends to fangirl for a lot of stuff. I generally like most things. And I feel is that normal? Because that's what's fascinating about this to
You
me.
fangirl for Hello Kitty.
I
have
do
a lot
like
of
Hello
Hello Kitty
Kitty,
stuff.
but it's still not
It counts.
okay.
You have the
sure.
merch. That's
She's
all you
cute.
need.
That is so
That's all you need for
true.
fandom. The
Okay.
merch.
Well, if that's the case, then that is true. Over time, I have definitely and Rilakuma. That's a Japanese character. He's a cute little bear. My brother lives in Japan. I visited him there, and
See, I'm not familiar with that. You'll have to share that with me.
Oh my God, Rilakuma is gorgeous. He is so cute. I
See?
do like really
You're
cute stuff.
fangirling right now.
I am. Oh,
Look at
he's
you go.
right there. Shut your mouth.
What?
Okay, so look,
Of course.
right in front of us.
Okay.
There's a display.
Uh-huh.
On the right-hand side.
Uh-huh.
There's like towels up there. There's a pink one. Then there's like.
Is it
something
the
else.
red and yellow boy?
It's not red.
Oh.
It's a bear. It's a cute bear's face.
Oh. In that what?
Top.
Oh, on
Top
the
right
towel.
corner. Yeah, he's
The
it's
yellow
a towel.
one?
Yes.
Oh, that is quite
Isn't
cute.
he adorable?
Yes.
Rilakuma is so
Yeah,
stinking.
thank you, sir.
see?
Thank you for the
Yes.
assist.
Yep, he's listening. That's Rilakuma right there. I love
Right
him so
on.
much. And they go hard for him in Japan too.
They should.
Yeah, that was really cool. So yeah, I guess I do fan out a little bit,
There you
but
go.
I
You
just
just don't
feel
go
like
super hard.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's kind of across the board though. But it is really nice to see people enjoying stuff. I'm
trying
always
to think of this. You went super hard. I'm trying to think of a narrative, like media that you go super hard for.
oh no.
So,
That I'm like I watched it a bunch of times. I can quote
like when the new ones are coming out, you're like, I gotta watch
Yeah,
it.
I did like Atlanta. That was sweet. That
was pretty
good.
sweet.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
trying to
Shout out to
think.
Donald Glover.
Yeah, not so much.
See, that's what I'm saying. And you've known me for a long, long time.
You're still likable,
yeah. Well, I would hope so. If that is the
even without a
The metric.
fandom. You're likable.
yeah, it's very nice. But also too, I like to engage in other people's fandom. You know what I mean?
Sure,
Like this
sure.
is delightful. Like we're just seeing we got lightsabers walking through. Hey guys.
You know
they're
what I
out
wasn't,
here.
because a lot of this I've expected before. I didn't expect to see darts.
I didn't expect to see a WWE giant ring.
I was
wrestling
less
ring.
surprised to see that than darts.
Darts is they
But
may
it was
have the
pretty
prize.
awesome, and I was like, wow, it is kind of cool to watch people play darts.
But I think that's what makes this conference cool, is that it's all aspects of pop culture. So it doesn't just stop at the comic books and stuff like that. It looks like, I mean, we're getting into all of the things here. So that's where I think some of that diversity comes in, which is pretty dope.
It is.
I'm loving that. I like that. Okay, so what do you feel like comics in general have given to you? Like, what do you feel like the ultimate takeaway
I
is?
think
Like when
they've
you're
rescued me from a life of homophobia.
Ooh.
I think the way I was raised, it was on track to be like homophobic. And I think that after, like, there's no way to truly consume the X-Men comic books and understand it and then still be on that side of the fence.
I need not tell me more.
Well, okay, so
Break it down, friend.
like I said, X-Men is just a metaphor for any ostracized group. So
Okay.
it kind of works because, you know, like Magneto, he was Jewish, so he's bringing in his Holocaust
Magneto
experience.
was Jewish.
Yes. Like he famously got
Did everyone know that?
yeah, he famously got his powers while he's being separated from his mom in Auschwitz.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's a very powerful scene.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
he's a Holocaust survivor. So that's why he's so adamant about, like, we're not doing this again. Like, never again.
That's right.
And so
I always
but-
liked Magneto, and wasn't he supposedly a villain?
So that's the other. Oh, look, there's Chris. Like,
Ooh,
no,
oh,
it
there's
was.
Chris.
It blurs the line because in real life, like sometimes heroes are villains. You know what I mean? No
Amen
one's
to
ever
that.
any one thing. It's like, and for people who are villains, they think they're heroes.
Amen.
You know,
Yeah.
like that's the whole crux of the whole thing. So it's any group that has been otherized
Okay.
and stuff like that. And it also taught me science. I don't think I would have been as into science if it hadn't been for the X-Men. Like, I learned about evolutionary biology from Professor Xavier.
Wow.
Which
That's
is
pretty
sad
amazing.
because my parents paid a lot of money for me to go to school.
And
Because
you
I
learned
was
it from
taught
cartoons.
creation.
Yeah.
I was taught the Earth was 5,000 years old, like unironically. So if you,
Oh my God. Don't start that one up now. It's Sunday.
but no, like I think even more people are coming around to like, yeah, that's just a metaphor for our existence as
Yeah.
to what we can see right now.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I don't want to trigger any flat earthers.
Don't do
I'm
that.
just
Okay.
trying to.
There might be a booth somewhere we haven't seen or whatever. Where people
Exactly.
geek
I
out
want
for
it
that.
to be a fun time for
That's great.
everyone. But yeah, that's what I think. I think, and because I think living like that is miserable. So I think it made me able to be more in touch with joy and seeing freedom and happiness for other people, which is because
gotcha.
we are sort of wired, we want to make ourselves happy, but we also are wired to get enjoyment from making other people happy.
Yeah, and I want to second what you were saying too about, like when I'm thinking about superhero stories, because my kids love them so much, I'm always like, good and evil isn't something that's really cut and dry. Like, it's something that is very nuanced. And so, when your kids are observing things that they feel like, man, this is evil or this is bad, I'm always interested in not just leaving it there. Like, I'm always super interested in being like, something happened there. Usually when you find a air quotes villain, there's a backstory. There's always something that happened. It's usually born out of a lot of hurt or, loss.
Even R. Kelly, you read his backstory.
Don't
it's
bring
really
him
tragic.
up. Don't do that. I'm up here
not
trying to
saying
share a beautiful story, and you up here talking about some daggone
really,
R. Kelly. Y'all hear that?
He's a villain in our culture, but it's not. It didn't come out of nowhere.
It didn't come out of anywhere.
Yeah, like he didn't just I'm waking up and deciding to choose evil.
But outside of him, though, the story I was trying to say was, because I don't want my story tainted by R. Kelly right now. But you're true. It's true. No matter where the villain is, there's a story. There's that backstory. So I think it allows for us to have compassion sometimes for, the people's backstories or, where they came from. Hey, Chris. Hey.
Yeah, we might as well break for that. We got Chris Spangle in the house.
We're celebrities,
no
guys.
Dishes in the house.
So
yeah, wrapping it up. Yeah, Chris, we're just talking about what comic books have taught us. Well, it's me specifically.
Yeah.
And I said it made me not homophobic.
And I was like,
yeah,
tell me more. Yeah, it is good.
Yeah.
And like I said, for my children, I just feel like it's not, people aren't just evil. Usually things happen. It's a series of.
Can I tell you a story about when my son was playing Lego Star Wars on the Nintendo GameCube?
Yes.
He was so upset when he got to the portion where Anakin turns into Darth Vader.
It is very upsetting. I hated that too.
So upset, and he's like, no, explain it to me. Why did he become evil? And I was like, well, honey, it was the fear of losing what he had, wanting that more. He was like, no, this is a character I've played with, I've grown up with. Why is he doing this now? He was so upset. I never was able to give him an explanation
that satisfied his.
Satisfied how upset it upset him every single time.
It is upsetting. I felt like that too. But that's why backstories. That's why I love prequels and stuff like that too. Because sometimes you'll get a narrative and it's from the vantage point. This person is clearly the villain. But then I love when they decide to go back and tell you what happened.
So have you heard of The Last of Us? This is a video game.
No.
Listen, we're gonna. The sequel was very controversial because during it, all of a sudden the villain for. Oh, I'm sorry, spoilers for Last of Us.
Okay, don't come over here. Listen.
Basically, you end up playing it from the perspective of the villain.
Okay.
Of the first one, and everyone got so pissed off. They were like, "Man, hit the thing."
People always get mad. Oh, is it this?
Yes, it was we don't care about that person. Oh. But then as you start playing as that person, you're like, I care about that person. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I
think that's important too, though, because that does give us empathy.
Yeah. I remember I had a good friend tell me, it was like, man, I don't even want to play anymore. I was like, okay. and then later on he called me. He was like, no, I'm glad I kept playing. It got awesome.
It got awesome. That's so funny. Yeah, I think that too. And a lot of people don't want to put themselves in that sort of a narrative. I don't shy away from that because sometimes I am a little bit interesting.
You're one of the least judgmental people.
Yeah,
at least compared to me, I'm way more judgmental.
I'm judgmental about things that are way more shallow and superficial. I think the real important stuff, not so much. Yeah, it's like, ew, that doesn't go together. I don't like that outfit or whatever.
And I'll be like, I never want to talk to that person again.
I'm like, but wait a minute, we don't know what happened to this person.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it does breed empathy, and I think that's one of the more important things that we can gain from sharing stories, whether they're comics,
agreed,
whether it's movies and entertainment. I think it's part of the reason why we love doing this podcast, because what we end up being able to do is share these different narratives, and we can apply our own life and experiences to those. But I will say that during the course of our podcast, friend, I have changed my mind so many times.
Really? What's something you changed your mind on? Give me an example.
Like the Octavia Butler book about the Owen Collie. It was basically about if we
if we had to evolve,
if we have to
physical
evolve
beings
by copulating with aliens and becoming a hybrid of human. At first I was like, absolutely not, kill me.
Moni votes no.
I want to be human so bad. But I was like, but wait a minute. If the ultimate goal is survival,
That's the name of the game.
choose to die? You know, so
well,
I'm like, ooh.
okay, one of my favorite iterations of the X-Men was like it was like a series of comic books in one book.
Okay.
And it was called E is for Extinction.
Okay, that's a bummer.
Because that's the problem the X-Men are having. Human beings see them as the replacement for humans, which is why the humans are trying to exterminate them because they don't want to be replaced. They're scared.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, I'm you. Like, this is
This is the next phase.
And that was when I was like finally learning about evolution. Like, yes, every living thing on the planet has the same ancestor. So it's like, is that, so obviously, and we always talk about when we were talking about Q and when he was judging humanity, do we deserve to live?
And my vote for Q was to blow us up, guys.
I think
We're the worst.
The answer now is we deserve to keep existing, but only if we change.
Only if we change. Why is it so hard for us?
It's hard. It takes a lot of energy.
It is. So that's
I wanna do
why.
it.
Well, that's what I'm grateful for, though. I'm grateful for the arts in that way because I think that it gives us a better way to think about stuff, or it helps us remove ourselves from our narrative and observe something else. And then, like I said, I've been able to change my mind about stuff, and I think hopefully that's what art does, whether, like I said, it's comic books or whatever. It opens your mind up to view stories in different ways, to have more empathy for the people around us, and to be able to take in other people's stories that are different
And it makes
than you.
the art nerds cool.
It makes who?
The art nerds.
Makes them cool. Finally.
Yes.
We've been waiting for this.
Yes, the nerds sitting in the back of class drawing for
Yeah.
cash. I used to get cash for drawings, and it was a great little racket.
Really?
Yeah, I would draw
I like that for you,
I
friend.
draw like Michelangelo from the Ninja Turtles giving the middle finger.
Oh, wow.
What?
Wow.
Yeah,
You
it
were
was
so.
edgy. I was on the cut. I was
Wow.
on the edge.
I was making that little S thing. What was that S? Like everybody did. It's like, what was that? Yeah, that's what I was into.
So
It's like I can't really draw that much, but I do like lines.
Moni was cool in school.
I guess so. That's what they say. I don't know about all that. But I mean, overall, to me, the enduring popularity of comic books and their impact is undefeated at this point, and I am really, really excited to, I want to check out the X-Men story you were talking about, the '97 one.
Yeah, on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I
Have
think
your kids
I'm-
watched it.
No, and
They
that might
will
be
love
fun.
it.
Is it doing too much or what? Because sometimes these
I
cartoons,
feel like
man.
it's about as edgy. Maybe watch it yourself first and decide if it is. There are some it's heavy materials. Like they do like a fake January 6th attack.
Oh, geez. Yeah,
know,
but see, that might be a way we can talk about it where it's
and
not
I would
like
say,
awkward or
when I
whatever.
was watching it as a kid, Saturday mornings with my dad and him telling me about the comic books, like that's how I got into comic books. Like
Indoctrination.
we did use that as a springboard to talk about real stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, if nothing else, guys,
It's on Disney.
if nothing else, guys, if you don't take anything from, what you might be able to learn from comic books, it might give you a way to talk about some difficult topics. Because I do think it can be challenging for people to talk about stuff that they're like, oh my gosh, how do I bring this up? How do I have, these kind of tough conversations? And sometimes even with other adults. So I do think that it's a way to do that. So I really love that. So I feel inspired now having had this conversation. The arts are the best. How do you feel, friend?
Cheers. on
Cheers. I know, right?
Arts are
This
the
is
best.
good too.
Thank
What
you.
is this,
Oh, should we
sparkling
shout out
lemonade?
Maui Wowie?
I don't know. Is that
I
what it's
want
called?
to. People
This is
should
great.
come. Just if anything, if you're tired of the same old sort of places in the mall to buy stuff, if you're really into unique
you're gonna
items,
find some good stuff.
like I said, there is real fashion here too. If you
Listen.
want those high end sweatshirts and stuff like that. I love those ponchos. I've seen whatever those custom made ponchos are. I love those.
And it's something you probably can't find all the time,
Exactly.
which is nice too.
You're only gonna find it at a place like this.
oh my gosh,
yeah,
my son
I
would
love
be
it.
dead. Look at their Spider-Man is here. It's
Yeah,
I'm loving it. This
I'm
is
excited.
pretty
though. This
awesome.
is great.
I love it. And so you know what? I feel like I think we're getting toward wrapping up the show. I wanted to invite you guys to follow us on social media. We have an Instagram, we have TikTok at the Fab Podcast. We stream our podcast everywhere you can listen to podcasts. And not only do we talk about comic books, actually that doesn't even happen that much, to be honest. because I won't allow it mostly. But no, I'm kidding. But no, we review all kinds of books. I mean, the freedom that we have to express our creativity does not limit us. So sometimes we're talking about classic Black literature. Sometimes, like, we just read Dolly Parton's autobiography. She's fascinating and fancy. I mean, she is a whole vibe. So there's a lot of diversity in the topics and stuff like that interest us and that we cover. And then sometimes, because life gets busy, guys, we just it might be like something like the X-Men or a Netflix show, or we might just be catching up with each other. But Kat is literally one of my favorite people. I love talking to her. She's so smart and lovely.
Favorite people.
And we're having our own private party.
Great when
It
that
doesn't
works
even
out.
matter who's here. So I really enjoy doing this podcast. And thank you, Kat. I should decide dedication. If I had the music, I'd cue it up again. For just, I mean, because this is a lot of work, you know? Like, and you do a lot with our editing and
You know how I manage it? I mess up a lot. So that takes a lot of the pressure off.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. If you do a lot, you're going to mess up a lot.
Yeah. Don't be
So
scared. It's
don't
fine.
be, and your body belongs to you.
I know. That's
So use it to cosplay.
That's so true. And use it to do the stuff you like PopCon, because we see you guys. So yeah, find your happy place and spend some time there, because everything else is pretty it's pretty depressing and hard. So yeah, like that's why we need comic books.
It's this or nothing.
Yeah, it's this or nothing, guys. So participate with all of your heart, and take the time to spend it with the people you love. That's how I feel. So you guys, I think we're gonna get on out of here.
Brandon, you want to take us out of here?
Yeah.
Let's hear from Moni and Kat, the Fake Ass Book Club.
Before we go, we must give thanks to Urban Nerd for providing our music, and legal services were handled by Trezanae M. Atkins. If you like what you heard, please feel free to join us every Wednesday for another Fake Ass Book Club. Cheers.
Thank you guys for listening. You can check us out at thefabpodcast.com. Please subscribe, rate, and review our podcast wherever you're listening right now. We want to hear from you. Come put it in our life. Thanks again, and until next time, peace, love, and the Fake Ass Book Club. We out.